Take it from me. Hello, my friends. How you doing? So, Ubisoft has worked with Nintendo a good number of times. They have a good partnership. They've done exclusive games before. And so going into a Ubisoft presentation, you never know if there's going to be some special little Nintendo-y tidbit, and you can never count on it, but every once in a while, it does happen. This time it has happened. It is very unfortunate that the whole thing got spoiled ahead of time. The first Mario and Rabbids game, it got spoiled by some internal documents leaking way ahead of time. And then in this case, it was really recently, the first I heard of it was just a few days ago when somebody was leaking some Ubisoft stuff. And at that time, it was just some details. So it was like, okay, it probably is going to happen, but we weren't 100% sure. And then the Nintendo website, of all things, the Nintendo website, somebody accidentally clicked the button too early or set it to AM instead of PM or something like that. And, it just went out. They just revealed the project. It wasn't like the full trailer or anything, but the name, Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, screenshots, description, all that different stuff. So it is really unfortunate that was spoiled this morning. The Ubisoft just had their Ubisoft Forward conference. We were so close to it being such a nice surprise. Whatever the case, though, it is still a nice surprise. So they're making another Mario plus Rabbids game. I am surprised just because it seemed like the first game, it did okay in sales. I feel like it sold like a couple million. I know it wasn't like it didn't seem like a really, really, really high budget game, at least not for Ubisoft. For them, it was probably a drop in the bucket. But it's still like, it did fine, but I feel like it was still modest compared to most Ubisoft games. They're used to very, very big successes. So I never anticipated we would get more from that. It seemed like a total passion project, you know? The kind of thing that a company like that, they'll give you every once in a while, but, don't expect too much. Apparently, it exceeded their expectations enough that they're making a new one. Sorry, we're only showing still images here. Ubisoft is a little hit or miss when it comes to the whole copyright thing, so we're gonna play it safe and just do stills. And so, they revealed it in their conference, and they just kind of came right out with it. There was no, big, slow tease leading up to the Mario. It just kind of was like, okay, well, apparently the Mario friends and the Rabbids are just in a spaceship now. I don't really know why, or if there's an explanation. And, seeing this trailer again makes me realize how confusing it just reminds me how confusing the whole concept is. I played the first game, I loved it, but just the whole thing where, I don't know, the two universes just kind of came together. It's just kind of a thing. But then even then, there was the gun, the rabbit that combined things together. So that's kind of the reason. But now they're kind of just rolling with it and just being like, I don't know. It's just a universe of Mario and Rabbids now. It's like there isn't even a reason for it. I guess it's an alternate world, alternate universe where this stuff is just mixed together for some, I don't know, maybe there'll be some plot reason, but it's weird. It's just so weird seeing it again. So we get this little cinematic trailer, and then after that we get a gameplay trailer. In the cinematic trailer, it kind of sets up the story, and we can see that, again, it's just kind of doing its own thing now. There's a new, they're flying around in the ship, and they detect a big new villain, and we don't know what that villain is. It's just kind of a big spooky villain thing. Throughout this thing, we see a lot of new, just Rabbid kind of characters that aren't even necessarily mixes of Mario. The biggest takeaway from this just seems to be that they're breaking away from that more than ever and just kind of turning it into its own unique thing. It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts. Originally, it was Final Fantasy plus Disney, but then, it still kept with the Disney thing, but it also kind of became its own thing. And so here, we do get Rabbid Rosalina, which is very funny. She seems to be a kind of, the vibe I get is the lazy, the teenager kind of thing. She doesn't want to get off her chair. Pretty funny. One mixing we get is Lumas and Rabbids mixed together and makes this kind of scary, funny little thing right here. And according to the developers, this is a really integral thing to the plot. For some reason, again, I don't quite understand why that would be such a huge thing, is the Lumas plus the Rabbids, but there you go. But the rest of it is just kind of they're in space, there's some bad guys, some bad stuff is happening, and it's weird. And so, yeah, the cinematic part, it is really cool. It's really epic. It's as with the original, it's fun, and I'm so happy that they are able to give us, because there's the whole Mario and the RPGs, and I wish they'd do the bigger stories and stuff, and I don't like the way the Paper Mario is gone, yada, yada, yada. So it's nice to have this extra spin-off thing that is kind of scratching that itch. You know, the first one scratched that Mario kind of RPG-ish, kind of story-ish itch for me. It had a lot of cool cutscenes and just a lot of, it's just like epic Mario stuff. I just want cool epic Mario stuff. And this is so cool. It goes so much cooler, so much bigger in scope. I mean, it's space. I love space. I love space travel. It's spaceships. It's super epic and cool. There is that part of me that's like always gonna kind of be sad that it's almost like mixing with Rabbids is the only thing that allows them to do something so cool with Mario. I mean, it's the Paper Mario thing again that they've literally talked about. It's like when it comes to Mario, you have to mix in an element that doesn't quite fit with Mario in order to be able to break free creatively. Because when it's just Mario, it has to adhere to these very strict Mario rules. So yeah, it's like, it's a little disappointing. Like, I'm looking at this and just being like, couldn't it have just been Mario? Like, there's literally no reason Nintendo could not make something this cool, this epic and incredible. Mario flying around a spaceship and just, I don't know, they could. It's like, no, you gotta add something in that doesn't fit. You gotta add in the Rabbids. But anyway, it's a fairly small complaint because I like the Rabbids fine. I like them in this context, and I'm happy that this is happening at all because holy cow, it looks so cool. But that's the cinematic. Let's go on to the gameplay. And when thinking of a Mario and Rabbids sequel, that's another reason I wasn't sure if they were going to make a sequel, just because, I don't know, they already did it, and when I imagine a Mario and Rabbids sequel, I think, I don't know, the same thing, but again, you know, I guess I was thinking too small. You know, I thought it's still just a regular tactical kind of thing, and maybe some new environments, new bad guys, new features, you know, new ways to attack, new characters, and all that stuff. But no, they have really gone with the whole sequel idea. This is huge. So like right away, this looks like an open world, or at least very open areas. The first one had these relatively open areas to explore, but the camera was pretty, like, you know, kind of isometric. I think you can move the camera a little bit. I don't know, but like it was a little bit more limited. You're moving along these kind of paths. The whole thing was mostly linear in the way that you move along them. But this one is just like a big old area, and you're just running around. There's a free camera, and then in the first one, you would reach these areas. We're like, okay, you've reached one of the bad guy encounters, so now do a bad guy encounter. But here we can see them running past a bomb, which is out on the field, like Paper Mario style, where it's there and then it sees them and it runs after them, and then presumably when it hits them, they get into an encounter. So awesome. I love that system in basically any game, any RPG type thing. It's just, and that combined with the open world thing, it's just cool. It's very in line with what I like to experience in my video games. It's more natural, it's more free, it just feels better. So like right away, even that detail is awesome. I mean, just, I did like the exploration in the first one, but this looks like it will have even more exploration, and that's just very cool. But then the gameplay. The gameplay itself is where they've really broken it open. You know, they could have just done, again, the same thing, but a little bit different. But it seems that they have overhauled the entire system and turned it into, it's probably still turn-based. It does look that way. You take control of one character at a time, but within that turn, it's like free move. They're running, you know, you're controlling the character and running around freely. You're not working your way across they basically just got rid of the grid. That's really what it comes down to. It looks like instead of a grid, you have this area that you're free to run around. I don't know if it's still gonna limit like how far you can go, or just you can go anywhere within the circle. I don't know, but they're pulling off attacks and then they're running back and repositioning themselves. It shows Mario like kind of parkouring over a little platform there. It shows Rabbid Peach jumping up on what was the robot's name? Bippo? Beepo? I think it's Beepo. Grabbing onto Beepo and using her like a helicopter or something. And I love it. It's one of those things where, I mean, you know, I will often complain about a game or a series or whatever, where if the sequel goes too far away from what the original was, then it just kind of becomes a different game, and you're kind of like, what's the point? And this would definitely run the risk of that. It's not, I mean, you know, just the grid itself, that was its own kind of gameplay. This is very different. But at the same time, like, I'm I'm all for it. It's different, but it's new enough to be fresh and fun with just enough of the old stuff. It's still turn-based. I'm sure it's still going to be very tactical and stuff. And mostly, I just think the first game explored the idea so well that I have that game. You know, like especially with the DLC, I already have that game if I want to play that specific grid-based tactics game. I have it. They did a great job with that. So if this was just the same thing again, it would be good and I would enjoy it, but it would be considerably less exciting. I'm actually very happy that they went in the direction they did. It's a fresh, bold, new take on the idea, and also just the open, you know, the real-time action open thing feeds into the general bigger embiggening of the game with the bigger world and all that stuff. So I'm very happy about it. Honestly, like, I kind of wish I had recorded my reaction. I don't know, just the fact that it was spoiled already made me kind of like, I mean, I didn't have any like super duper strong reactions when I watched it, so it's fine that I didn't. But like, it's important. It's a really important game. I know the original really, I really loved it, and it really scratched an itch for me, and it seemed like it still kind of flew under the radar. It still did not sell as much as I would anticipate for something so cool, for like a big, cool Mario adventure with like cutscenes and kind of RPG elements and all that stuff. Honestly, I think the Rabbids really brought it down. I ended up not minding them, but I know people have mixed feelings on the Rabbids, and I think that kind of prevented it from you just kind of wish Ubisoft would can we just make a cool Mario game? You know what I mean? That would probably go over really well. Like a big, cool, big budget, awesome, epic Mario adventure. But again, they got to do the Rabbids so that it's legal or whatever. But it was kind of disappointing to see how many people skipped over the other one. I mean, it's, you know, a few million copies. Apparently it was good enough to be profitable, but that's still like, for Mario, for a big epic adventure, it's disappointing. So I'm really hoping more people get into this. I'm hoping that the bigger scope and more action-y gameplay really, I don't know, gets people's attention. I know sequels generally don't usually perform as well as the original unless it really breaks things open and gets people excited again. I'm kind of hoping that's what happens, is that enough people see this and go, okay, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? So I am gunning for this game, though that does bring me to the uncomfortable part of the discussion. Ubisoft has been caught in the act of doing some just questionable stuff over the years. It all came to light 1 or 2 years ago. I have personally not really wanted to associate them much because of it. So I'm kind of in this like thing right now where I'm not quite sure. I really didn't want to support them, but at the same time, this in itself is a very Nintendo-centric thing. I'm not just saying like, you know, they get a pass because it's Nintendo. It's more that like this as a project, it's another company doing Mario. It's Mario doing something epic, and that is something I really want to get behind. And it seems like the team behind it, you know, Davide Soliani, clearly one of the most passionate people you will ever see in your entire life. The team behind it seems so genuine and so just awesome, and it's such a cool idea for a product that I'm kind of like, I don't know, I think I can get behind it. Ubisoft has been attempting to change for the better, but it's just kind of like, you kind of are like changing because you had to, because you got caught, but they still are changing, so does that make it okay? I'm not really sure. It's all very, very confusing with a lot of conflicting feelings, I think at this point. I mean, I could have just said nothing and just said, hey, cool, Mario and Rabbids, but I guess, I don't know. I would feel wrong if I didn't at least address the idea. I don't like abuse in the industry. I try to call it out when I can, and I try to not work with companies that I think are totally awful. Like, I would never work with EA or Activision, not a second in my life will I be doing that. But in this case, it's a little harder to judge. I think I am going to support this game and say, yeah, it's something that I want. It's something that I hope succeeds. It's going to benefit Nintendo and Mario and the Nintendo community so much if it works. I want Nintendo to be confident in a product like this, in a project like this. Absolutely. So Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, it looks cool. I mean, like, it looks really, really cool. I'm actually genuinely excited about it. If you are not sure and you want to play the first one, like, it goes on sale all the time. It's probably on sale right now, especially with all the E3 stuff. Ubisoft has sales all the time. Even with the DLC, you can get it for super duper cheap. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Look at this. Look at what's happening. It's Mario, and it's big and epic, and it's cool, and it looks awesome, and I can't wait to play it. I'm very excited. It's coming next year. Let me know what you think about this. Did you play the original? Did you like it? Do you feel it was underappreciated? Or do you not even care about the original? You just want to play this one because it's got Rabbid Rosalina. Is that all you care about? Let me know down in the comments. I will see you later. I will see you very, very soon for more E3 content. Tuesday, baby. Woo!